tried once. Gave that shit back.
The DNA is real. At least it is to me.
What about the...
Season 5 has given us plenty of scenes showing Kanan spending more time around Breeze. At first, it looked like a simple mentorship. Breeze appeared calm, experienced, and willing to give Kanan opportunities that Rack never would. But the more we watch their relationship develop, the more one question keeps coming up. Is Breeze actually helping Kanan, or is he teaching him the very habits that will eventually make him one of the most feared men in the Power universe? The scary part is that Kanan probably doesn't realize the difference, and neither does Rack. Let's break down why Breeze may be changing Kanan in ways that can't be undone. Since the beginning of raising Kanan, one thing has remained consistent. Kanan has always wanted someone he could believe in. For years, that person was supposed to be Rack. But every season chipped away at that trust. Rack hid the truth. She manipulated situations. She made life-changing decisions without telling Kanan everything. Even when she believed she was protecting him, she created distance between them. By season 5, Kanan is no longer looking at Rack the same way. He's looking for someone who treats him like an equal. That's exactly where Breeze enters the picture. One reason Kanan enjoys working with Breeze is simple. Breeze doesn't constantly remind him that he's still learning. Instead, he gives Kanan responsibility. He listens to his ideas. He allows him to think independently. From Kanan's perspective, that's refreshing. After spending years feeling controlled by Rack, Breeze offers something completely different. Freedom. But freedom without guidance can become dangerous, because not every lesson someone learns is the right one. One thing we've noticed about Breeze is that he approaches the streets with a practical mindset. He doesn't waste time on emotions. He focuses on results. He values efficiency. That attitude can be incredibly effective in their world, but it also carries risks. If survival becomes the only priority, then relationships become secondary. Trust becomes temporary. Loyalty becomes conditional. Those are dangerous lessons for someone like Kanan, who's still forming his identity. Compare Kanan now to the young man we met in the first season. Back then, his emotions were obvious. When he was angry, everyone knew. When he was hurt, he reacted. When he trusted someone, he trusted completely. Season 5, Kanan feels different. He's quieter. He observes more. He shares less. He's beginning to hide what he's really thinking. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but it is a noticeable change. And it's remarkably similar to the Kanan we later meet in Power. Another interesting part of Breeze's mentorship is how much confidence he places in Kanan. He doesn't constantly second-guess him. He expects Kanan to figure things out. That confidence helps Kanan grow. But confidence without accountability can also create overconfidence. If Kanan starts believing he's always right, he'll stop listening to other perspectives. That can become one of the most dangerous qualities any leader develops. One thing Season 5 quietly hints at is that Rack notices Kanan changing. She sees him becoming more independent. She notices that he questions her more often. She realizes that someone else's influence is growing. The problem is that she may not know how to stop it. Years of broken trust can't be repaired overnight. Even if Rack suddenly became completely honest, Kanan might still choose to keep his distance. That's the tragedy of their relationship. Sometimes the consequences of old decisions don't appear until much later. Here's where this theory gets interesting. I don't think Breeze wakes up every morning planning to turn Kanan into someone ruthless. In fact, Breeze may genuinely believe he's preparing Kanan for survival. From his perspective, the streets don't reward kindness. They reward intelligence, patience, strength. The problem is that surviving and living aren't always the same thing. A person can survive while slowly losing the qualities that once made them compassionate. School isn't teaching Kanan anymore. Home isn't teaching him anymore. The streets have become his classroom. Every conversation, every partnership, every conflict, every decision. Those experiences are shaping the man he's becoming. Breeze just happens to be one of the people standing at the front of that classroom. Whether he's teaching the right lessons is another question entirely. Perhaps the biggest lesson Breeze is reinforcing is self-reliance. Kanan is beginning to believe that depending on other people creates weakness. That idea makes sense in the environment he's living in. Breeze isn't solely responsible for Kanan's transformation. Rack's choices matter. The streets matter. The people Kanan loses matter. Every experience contributes to who he becomes. Breeze is simply influencing one chapter of that journey, but it may be one of the most important chapters. Sometimes one mentor changes the direction of someone's entire life without realizing it. One reason the storyline works so well is because the consequences won't happen overnight. Kanan won't suddenly wake up as a completely different person. Instead, each lesson quietly changes how he approaches the next situation. One conversation makes him more cautious. Another makes him more confident. Another teaches him to question loyalty. Over time, those small lessons begin forming a completely different mindset. That's much more realistic than a sudden personality change. One of the saddest parts of raising Kanan is watching young characters lose pieces of themselves before they even realize it. Kanan is growing. He's becoming smarter. He's becoming more capable. But he's also becoming more emotionally distant. The qualities helping him survive today may eventually prevent him from having healthy relationships tomorrow. That's a heartbreaking trade-off. So here's my theory. Breeze isn't intentionally creating a villain. He's teaching Kanan how to survive in the only world he knows. The problem is that those lessons come with consequences. Every time Kanan learns to hide his emotions, he becomes harder to understand. Every time he chooses strategy over trust, he grows more isolated. Every time he believes strength matters more than vulnerability, another piece of the young man we met in Season 1 disappears. By themselves, none of these lessons seem dangerous. Together, they're quietly shaping the man who will eventually become one of the most calculating figures in the Power universe. That's why Breeze's influence feels so significant. He's not changing Kanan through one dramatic speech or one shocking event. He's changing him through small, everyday lessons that slowly reshape how Kanan sees the world. And if Season 5 continues down this path, Rack's greatest fear won't be losing control of her business. It will be realizing that she's already losing the son she tried so hard to protect. Because once Kanan fully embraces the mindset Breeze is teaching him, there may be no going back. The transformation won't happen all at once. But when we eventually look back at raising Kanan, we may realize that Season 5 was the moment Kanan truly began becoming the man we first met in Power.